Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the Tuesday tournament stream. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Panda Fast Rapid. I made 2 Fast Rapids in a row. It was supposed to be a slow tournament this week, but we're doing the Fast Rapid again. A. Morales, Thomas Reinson, Resonant Spectator, and Sparkle Horse. That's me. We're all in the chat room there. Alright. Well, Resident Spectre has a Greek flag now. Morales. Back to his native Spain. Are you living in Spain again? Sparkle Horse, T-Boot Poo, Thomas Trainson, Resident Spectator, Paluts, Uret, Acerbate, Pirate. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to thank one of our viewers, Shelly Mays, for donating $50 last stream, and it totally went over my head. I just didn't even see it. So Shelly Mays very generously donated $50 to the stream. No one mentioned it. I missed it. Bobix, what's up? Good evening. I was just thinking about you. Once in a while I'll log in and I'll see you online. I'm like, there's Blobix. I wonder why he never comes by the stream anymore. Still alive. That's the attitude. That's the spirit. Alright. So, you're always welcome to join us. Blobix 75 FM. Bloby 75 FM. Still crazy after all these years. So, let me send one last notification to the members of our Panda and Horses team, as I do every Tuesday. Copy. One last call, as you will, if you will. One last call. Panda and Horses Club. Message members one more time. Just annoy them one more time. Paste. Is Mr. Coffee here? Wow. Last call. I'm just going to put last call. Screw it. I'm not going to write anything. I'm terrible with the typing. All right, whatever. Let's pin that link in. Yeah, good idea. Pinning and winning. That's cheesy. All right. I was saying I got Sex Bomb stuck in my head. I walked in the supermarket. I guess it happened there. It's not the worst song ever to get stuck in your head, but it's not great. You survived cancer and you're back. Damn, dude. I am glad to hear you're back and you survived, but not happy to hear that you had to go through that, and wow. Yeah, that's not good. But you're with us and you're well. Blobix. Stay strong. Acerbate. Alright. No, I'm glad you're alright, Blobix. Good to know. Did not know you were battling there. Alright, Panda Fast Rapid. Camel Culture I haven't seen in a long time. National Master Camel Clutcher. Goiju, T-Bot Poo, Thomas Trainson, Resident Spectre, Paluts, Urek, Acerbate, and Pirate. We have 12 minutes till the tournament starts. Who had bad news today of the minor category. Speaking of back in the French Team Championship, I didn't think so, but I'm going to play black on Sunday. So far I had smoothly gone 3 rounds with white every time, but now there's 2 noobs in front of me. So I have to play third board for our team with a home match, and I'm going to be black. But that pushes me down in the lineup, so it's not going to be like, it's not going to be someone like 2650. It's going to be under 2600 or maximum 2600. So it's not that scary of an opponent, but I do have to play black on Sunday. It is what it is. Our team that we're facing on Sunday is like formerly like a legendary team, but they've kind of look like they're not on the up and coming. All their top players aren't playing except for Nidich. The only top player they have is Nidich. Rushstein played like one game, and that was it. They don't have enough strong foreign players playing as they used to. Hungarian Team Championship, and it's really it's gone downhill here. Husky is now higher rated. When did that happen? Husky is now 25-37. Weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of classical or something. Husky's higher rated than me. Goichu donated 500 bits. Thank you. My score with Husky is like 50%. Of course, there's a lot of simul games in there, so it's not like a real one-on-one, style score, but yeah, wow, almost as good as my score with Antonio. Alright, let you guys win sometimes. I admit it. Like this last game against Morales. I didn't really try. Just kidding. So we got 10 minutes till the tournament starts. I haven't watched the Tata at all. Once again, thank you guys for doing it. Thanks, Koiju, for the 500 bits. Is Mr. Coffee here? There he is. Nice. Bijak, welcome. Yeah, here's our tournament link. It's 7 rounds, 7 plus 5. I've given up trying against Morales. Mr. Coffee's here. Mr. Coffee, what do you have for this weekend? A tournament? Did you have a tournament last weekend? You're not keeping me regularly updated here. Did you have a tournament last weekend? This weekend is a tournament. Okay. So nothing last weekend. I didn't see you on the weekend on Sunday. So I was thinking, oh, is Mr. Coffee... Okay, you were just recovering. I was thinking, did you have a tournament on Sunday? Because you weren't here in the Sunday stream. This Sunday I've got to play black. No. All right. You better be. So now, all right, we've got 13 players. Usually we get about 20. Sorry, Blobix isn't playing. Blobix still in recovery phase. What else? What else is new? I haven't watched Tata. Weekendse. Tata sounds stupid, by the way. Tata. Alright. What else is happening? Title Tuesday? Oh, that's funny. Interesting. What else? Nothing new here. I recovered from a very long poker game on Saturday. George Soros. I don't know who George Dantos is. You mean Santos? Yeah, that's a Hikaru Nakamura quote. Slaggy would have been world champion if U.S. Chess Federation would have given help, according to Hikaru Nakamura. The Knight H2 move with Slaggy was epic. Can't remember that. Vaguely, maybe. I don't know, it's hard to say how strong Husky is. He's limited over the board tournament experience. I would estimate his strength somewhere around 2,200 FIDE, but Alright. Sparkle Horse Camel Culture as well. Morales, sandbagging. T. Pubat, Schumacher. What else is in the blink of an eye? The tournament was filled with many challengers, mighty challengers. Can you guys all resign against me? What else am I forgetting here? I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. Nice to see Blobix again. Nice to see Camel Clutcher. Clutching camels. Don't clutch too many camels. It can be bad for you. You can go to jail for clutching camels. What song do you want us to re-sing? Okay. George Santos. What a character, huh? Compulsive liar. It makes the perfect politician. What other personality traits could be perfect for a politician? Other than being compulsive liar. Alright, we've got 5 minutes left. We've got the 500-bit donation from Goiju. That was very generous. Thank you. Again, thanks again to Shelly Mays for a $50 donation on the morning stream yesterday, which went right over my head. I really need to turn the sound notifications back on here. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. It's the new keyboard. Damn, dude, the function key. Why is it not working? There it goes. Hello? Function key turned on. Sound turned on. You're over with money. 4 minutes to go. Aldisto joins. So now we have 4 players over 2,400. Plus Dinekis, El Shakmat. What we need are more lower rated players. We have 10 players over 2,000. 11 players over 2,000. 1 within 2 points. See, I don't know, man. I just don't appeal to the lower rated players for some reason. This stream doesn't. We need to find a way to reach out and appeal to more of the players under 1,800. Why? Because I take chess seriously. The stream is kind of... my stream approach is kind of intermediate to advanced level. I think I take chess to the intermediate level. Not watered down for beginners. So I don't appeal to noobs too much. What can I do? I'm an elitist. I don't understand that quote. Guillaume Neidich reckoned that me playing the King's Indian against Anand was something akin to a samurai running in a machine gun with a sword. Is the King's Indian really that bad that you can't even play it against Anand? I mean, dude, that's kind of exaggerated. It's not that bad. I mean, I think there's different ways to play the King's Indian, you know. I've been looking at King's Indian lately. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Noobs that want to improve will come to you. Come to me, noobs. That's a good stream title. Come to me. My little noob. My little noobika. Noobika is a diminutive. Noobika. Alright. 2 minutes till take off. And Thomas Treinson should be streaming as well. Should you lose to Thomas Treinson, it will be streamed Guys, tomorrow is Weird Wednesday. We'll do some rapid chess in the morning. Magyar Haidu. A Haidu? Dude, I thought a Haidu was like a swan. What is Haidu? Just reading the chat in the chat room. I got my Hungarian flashcards. I practice Hungarian sometimes. Alright. Magyar Vándor is a Magyar Vándor is like a warrior or something. Yeah, but I thought that was like a different word. Or maybe. Maybe it's just close. They're no, this is one company that makes boilers is called Haidu. I guess it would make sense. Hot water heaters. I never thought about it. The word for swan is very close. Alright. 40 seconds till start. Quiet in here. It's getting quiet in here. In the blink of an eye, the tournament was filled with mighty challengers. Yes, we have a lot of strong players. Resident spectator. Okay. Well, at least Mr. Slow won't be my first round opponent. Streamer battle. Streamer battle. Go. Go. There's a Yeti. A loud Yeti downstairs. You sit on my computer and join the tournament 1 second left. You can't forfeit, though. Don't worry. You won't be forfeited. Even if the time is like flashing and counting down. That's just like a hangover from arenas. I have not played chess today. Yes, I played one casual game today. Oh, the Grunfeld. Wow. Grunfeld. Grunfeld. CD5. There's more than one way to skin the proverbial cat. Skinning cats. We need Mule Skinner for that. This is my old friend Ilinchich's favorite variation. I know nothing. I know nothing. I see nothing. I not play this variation my whole life. All I know is what I saw in the movies. In the Mikhail Chisen book. On the Fianchetto variation. I sat in the bathtub. I just laid in the bathtub and read about this. Like 6 years ago. But I've never actually played it. I don't know, Resident Spectator. I'm just trying to randomly be like... I'm just raving like a maniac. No one in particular. Oh, originally it was Sergeant Schultz from the German part. It went from Sergeant Schultz to kind of Cheech and Chong there, but originally it was Sergeant Schultz. Which you might or might not know. Reference to an old 70s, 60s, 70s TV show about Hogan's Heroes, exactly. Hogan's Heroes meets Cheech and Chong. So what happens if Bishop G4? We all want to know. You sat on your computer, G-Souts. That's probably not a good idea, man, to sit on your computer. Sit on your hands, but don't sit on your computer. Damn, I'm in trouble already. No, I have to play d5 now. I'm not in trouble, but I'm just not used to playing this variation, as I said. Not my... I have 0 tournament games in this type of line. But I got sick of playing the other line where black plays c6 or whatever. You can understand why people would play this. Of course, black doesn't have to play it either. Alright. Yeah, Lynchich used to love it. He played like 30 moves of theory in these variations. He's so happy with himself. So what happens if, like, the h3 is a serious threat or not? Knight c3, bishop g4. I don't think so. I'll play f3. Did you know that Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes, his father was a famous, like, composer, classical musician? There's actually, it's interesting, in my daughter's school, there's actually a memorial to Colonel Klink's father. His name is Klemperer. Call Rubinstein law. Uber Lyft accident? Better call Saul. Now that's a lot of pressure on my center now. That kind of hurts. Here we go. My first Ilinchich variation. Man, Thomas Jensen seems to know what he's doing. I feel that white has failed to gain an advantage in the opening. Ilinchich would do like crazy stuff with his pawns. He would just push pawns all over the place. I think like that's crazy, but it would work. F4. Wow, knight c4, unprovoked movement of the knight. I can sacrifice my b2 pawn. Bishop f4. No. Well, b3 anyway. That's a move that Zlatko would love to play, just for more weaknesses. Other options include, but not limited to, queen b3, with the idea of rook d1. I mean, obviously the knight can pop over to d6 and just, like, blockade here. I don't want to overanalyze, though, here in 7+5. I'm probably getting a little bit carried away. We're getting carried away. Just trying to get with the flow here. Go with the flow. That was the guy who, you know, the guy who put his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk that got arrested for the insurrection. His legal defense in court was that he was just going with the flow. He could face decades behind bars because he brought a taser to the insurrection and broke into Nancy Pelosi's office. Going with the flow is your legal defense. Okay. I was just going with the flow with my taser in hand. Yeah, they just picked me up and took me. Alright, whatever. I'm sorry, but going with the flow is not a legal defense. Homie. There was another really weak legal defense for something I saw this week. What was it? Well, you can always sack the exchange. %99 accuracy. It was like a 6-move game, dude. Greetings, players. Princess Chess. Are you going to join us? Good to see you. Going with the flow. As if he had 0 critical facilities or intelligence. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Barnaby Plankton. Trying to remember what the other... There was something else I saw recently. Some other really lame excuse for something. Have people to maybe crush. Man, Thomas Trenson is rolling up into the proverbial ball. Now knight f5. See, knight f5 I was planning on meeting with bishop c5, but he stopped that. Now he's read my mind. He's a mind reader, this one. He is a mind reader. Need a place to put my bishop if it comes to that. Well, Asterby won his first game. 99 CPL. I don't know about this dark square bishop exchange. Has its pluses and minuses. But I think of Thomas Trenson as a really kind of attacking player, and it's sort of funny to see him like balling up a little bit. But you did mention, like, I think he has mentioned before, he, like most of us, doesn't like playing with black as much as with white. The horror when I realized I got an email today that I was playing board 3 in our Hungarian Team Championship on Sunday. I was really counting on... See, here's like Ilincic again. I was really counting on... You just randomly just keep pushing your pawns. I was counting on being white again for the 4th game in a row. I mean, it's just not right to get white 4 games in a row, right? I mean, it's not fair to, like, your teammates. I thought I was going to get 4 in a row. Uh-oh. The power of the exchange. Oh, I see. He's very compact and solid. Who plays the Grunfeld to be compact and solid anyway? Board 3. Board 1 plays like Nidich. Board 2, most likely Volokitin, and then I get some Hungarian. I might play my first Hungarian this year. You don't say. I think a4 is a bad move. A bad move was played. Maybe we can beat him on time. I'm getting a little pawn happy here. Wow. Pawn happy. I'm just like doing random stuff, basically. This is pretty random. Maybe a4 was bad. Bishop c5. Why did I even do a4? Well, I didn't like the pieces coming to b5, but it probably wasn't a big deal. It wasn't worth playing a4. And now knight b7. Because everybody loves the fianchettoed knight. I think you helped me out there a bit. I've regretted putting my bishop there on c5. Who doesn't love a fianchetto knight anyway? He's just holding the line. Do you have that? You're enjoying having both streams open and hearing dual commentary. Oh shit. I keep forgetting. Wow, I totally forgot. He's passive, man. He's played passively. My opening was very loose and unconvincing. But he didn't... well, first of all, I really think that he should have played e6 very early on. He had a chance to play it, and my gut instinct was like he should go for it. I hope that's not a good move. He's a grill. What else are we going to talk about today? Do you guys want to talk about other stuff like food? I'm going to make cheesesteaks tomorrow. I had this like cheesesteak craving. The problem is like Hungarians just... It's hard to find... Oh, we got something! See, I'll never miss another donation now. Steiner Botan 28 has followed. Steiner Botan. So Botan is a classic Hungarian name. And Steiner, of course, is common Germanic. Steiner, Hermann Steiner, actually was an American chess player. All right. But the sound makes it possible for me to recognize when people like, there's an action, a donation. Because yesterday I missed a $50 donation. But it's hard to find good red meat here. They love pork, and it's hard to make cheesesteaks with... That's weird. Pork cheesesteak? How about a pork cheesesteak? What do you think about that, Mr. Coffee? Pork steak. Would a pork cheesesteak work? They had all this like really nice pork in the supermarket, but almost no beef. Well, let's just say there was like a huge selection of pork and a very weak selection of beef. And did you know that cheesesteaks are supposed to be made with ribeye steak? Which is pretty expensive. I'd never realized that. Ribeye steak is like a premium cut of steak. But that's a pulled pork sandwich? I thought pulled pork was like something like somehow made special. They have to pull it. Pull it or something. Do pulled pork sandwiches have cheese? I thought they had to be like barbecued or something. Anyway, I couldn't find the right kind of beef in the supermarket. It's better to go to the like Hungarian market, the old school market, but the traditional markets have been struggling here. Just a matter of time. Pulled pork market. You dropped a piece. As soon as I started talking about food, Thomas Tristan just like went completely off pissed. I guess he's not listening to the stream though. Man, analysis board. Just a quick look at the opening. I really thought he should have played e6. So he did like takes. Wow, Farago Ivan, by the way, passed away. Our Hungarian Grandmaster Farago Ivan passed away in December, and I had never realized that he had passed away. It wasn't like anywhere on Facebook. Finally, I saw it on like the Hungarian chess website, Hungarian Chess Federation website. But strangely enough, White has won all 3 games from this position. I don't think it's that bad for Black. But couldn't you play e6 at some point? Somebody did play e6. Oh, that's the game. Farago versus Hanfi. 1974. And Ivan played f4. Not sure about f4. But it rhymes. Yeah, engine thinks that black is okay here, and f4 looks fishy. I don't know, f4 looks weakening. It like blocks my bishop. I'm not real excited about that. So I thought you should just knock out my pawn, but I guess there are some problems. But I mean, not really though. I mean, this is not a thing. So what do I do? Knight f4, and I have nothing. I'm serious. Chicken cheesesteaks. Turkey cheesesteak. Chicken cheesesteaks. I thought about opening a cheesesteak restaurant in Budapest. If I had the money for the capital, it might be a good idea. I don't know. The only thing we have here is like Subway, and you know, Subway kind of sucks. But their cheesesteaks are really bad. I don't know if the Hungarian ones have cheesesteaks. Steak and cheese. I don't know why I'm talking about food. This line is good for white. Who would have thunk it? So Chess Phantom, you don't have enough games. Not enough games to join the team yet. We will take your application again later. Oh no, I closed the window. You can reapply later. What the hell is going on with my computer? Well, I think something crazy is happening here. Alright, I gotta open a new window. I am sorry. I apologize. Everybody. We lost control of the situation. Tata Steel 2023. Yeah, I'm sorry for talking about food. It was really unnecessary. Alright. I apologize for talking about food. Completely inappropriate. Damn. What is your problem? Window capture. This is crazy, dude. It's not catching my... Right. There. Alright, we're back. We are back. Alright, tournament. One game in play. It's against Mr. Coffee. Alright, Sparkle Horse. Profile. It's time to start. Acerbate gets the win in round one. Tipubot, what? So now Tipubot, they left my simul, and then they were a no-show for the tournament. I don't know, man. I'll stop talking about food. I ate. Usually I talk about food when I haven't eaten, you know, but I ate normally today. Camel Culture got the win against Resonance Spectre. Peace up. Peace up. Dinekis. Forfeit win against Palots. Shakmat. Grinded the endgame again. He was +2. Chess Cheesecake. Morales. A lot of wins. We have 9 players with 1 point. Mr. Sohan's in with half-point bye. Alisto in with a half-point bye. Snedsteg. Jim. Princess Chess. Lots of people with half-point buys. T-Poobot is naughty and hasn't shown up for the round, as well as leaving our last simul. Very bad. Setting a very bad example. Too little time and bad in-game skills. Alright. We got 10 players. 9 players with 1. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. I should play like Mirales or something. Great. Great to have everybody here. I've turned on the notifications for donations, so I'm not going to miss any more donations. Thanks for the follow from Steiner Botond. Alright. 7 rounds, 6 to go. What else is happening? Good morning, good afternoon, good night from Greece. Sigurosmi. Imsorugis in reverse. Maybe there's something to that. The IS ending is pretty common in Greece. Maybe there is something to reading that backwards. Imsorugis. Knight f3. I don't recall Pirat playing Knight f3 on move 1. Is that a common occurrence? Chess ice cream. Chess cream. Chess ice cream. Bobby Fischer. After d4 we get a game I went over with one of my students. d4 would be Holmov Fischer from my 60 memorable games. This is similar. However, we have several options. I can play c5 or e5 now. So what is that like? It's a kind of closed Sicilian. If I play c5, just overlook bishop g3. It's now a symmetrical, what would it be? Like a Vienna? What do you classify this opening with when it's like e4, e5, knight c3, and g3? So that like transposes to a Vienna, basically. I wouldn't know what else to call it. I mean, I'm playing the Philidor, you're playing the Vienna. Petrosian would be happy with either color. d4 is a good move, I would assume. And so now it's becoming a Pierce. Well, becoming or became. Bringing back my memory of losing to Quang Liam. That was a fun time. Last time I played the Pierce probably. It was like 2007 or something. 2006. Listen to the Bobby Fischer Goes to War audiobook? What? You did not realize that it's pretty much a fact that, right, Neiman. I think it's like accepted a lot. They suspect that Fischer's father was Neiman, yeah. I'm not up on it, Mr. Coffee, but that's what I've heard. Why else would Fischer have a connection to, like, Hungary? Did you ever stop to think about that? I don't know. I guess he just came here to go to Serbia and ended up in Hungary. I'm not sure what his deal was. Probably need to research it more. Why is Parrot so fast? He was a mathematician. Bobby Fischer audiobooks. The Young John Daly. I think that's pretty much standard policy. Fisher's father wasn't Fisher. Alright. Bishop e3. So I've played h6. I've played a lot of Pirtz, Bianchetto Pirtz's with the white pieces. The white bits. Knight c5 could have some issues. He4 doesn't work. Well, there's also von Neumann, right? The famous mathematician. Von Neumann. Von Neumann. I'm confused. Knight b6? Does that even work? Who is this guy? Yeah, I mean, it's a very common name. Paul Newman. Not so much Oldman. Gary Oldman. Speaking of Paul Newman, I was talking about the Cincinnati Kid. Newman! Yeah. Why? You know the villain from Seinfeld. What other movie was he in? Wait. Oh, it was something stupid. Some movie I saw a while back. Not that long ago. Thanks for joining the team. What the hell is going on around here? You joined the team or you're trying to join the team? You're trying to join the team. It's different from join the team. You have to be accepted. Loci. Wow, you're Morphe 2023? Wow, nice ratings you got there. Okay. That's a meaty rating. Sire. This is like a Bronstein King's Indian Tactic. It looks like King's Indian Tactic puzzle. How does this not win for me somehow? Jeez, there's no knight f2, there's no queen f6. I mean, it just doesn't work. What the heck? How can no tactics work here? It's ridiculous. Sirery. Who said sirery? You're welcome, sir? Who said that? Are you from India? Only people who are from India are allowed to say that. That's sir. It's over formal. There's no excuse for being overly formal around here. Damn. Why do I want to play this? I can't imagine why. I got nothing. There's no way to, like, bust him. You're brought up that way. You're 13? Most people your age are, like, gunning down 6 or 7 people on a given day. You must have Respectful parents. Alright. You dropped a piece with check? That's like old school. To call people sir. Yeah, maybe in my time. What, he hung? You're with Max Slugy? Super Max, dude. Oh my god. You're in Super Max. That's the perfect place for Max, honestly. That's just ironic, isn't it, Mr. Coffee? We don't even want to... I'm not even going to start, dude. That's just a joke. It's like you're making a joke. Max is making a joke of himself at his own expense. He literally has something called the Super Max Academy. Dude, that's as bad as the Polgars. Jeez, that's just bad. Bad choice. Super Max is in, like, Super Max prison. That's where they keep El Chapo, dude, and he's seriously... El Chapo is, like, crying to be let out. He's, like, begging, like, the Mexican president to get him out of Super Max. And you're voluntarily joining the Super Max. That's crazy, man. He wants, like, the Mexican president to intervene, get his ass extradited back to Mexico. Super Max ain't fun. Colorado, baby. He's used to, like, 5-star service in normal prisons. Alright. We're not going to make... Yeah. No more jokes at Tulugi's expense. Alright. Well, he's not a bad chess player, I guess. Pirate just completely came unraveled. I bet, like, George Santos is one of the instructors at Super Max Academy. What's up, man? Me and Alisto hadn't a bye in the first round. Oh, you fought it out. My apologies, Mr. Slowhand. Yeah. Well, if you ever think about, like, switching chess for, like, the debate team or something, you keep up with current events. At 13, you're old enough. Keep up with current events. Especially if you live in the New York area. He might even be your representative. All right. I like to keep up on the political and national news here, international news. I like to fill my stream with mirth and we stay up to date on the latest news. All right, Pyra, I don't know what happened there, but did I miss the tactic? Mirth. Is there a win here? Wow. I have knight e5, but then what? 13's too young to care about politics. Yeah, but all the, you're in like, you're in junior high or freshman in high school, Mr. Coffee. There's the debate team, bro. 95 wins, apparently. I'm a nerd, man. I was never on the debate team. We didn't have a debate team. I think they did, actually, but it was so weak that it didn't even matter. Alright. But I like this joke about Supermax Academy. That's pretty funny, man. I have nothing personal against Max Lugie, but I haven't heard real good things about him. Alright. Dubious reputation, but a good player. I did lose to him once. Alright. El Shakmat, still playing. Goiju. Husky. Husky versus El Shakmat. Camel Culture versus Goiju. Let's check that out. Oh, baby, look at those connected pawns. Goiju with the connected pawns. Camel Culture on the defensive. I find you defensive, Camel Culture. White is up a piece, but he's facing two very strong bishops and connected pawns. So it might be enough compensation. But black shouldn't waste too much time here. Take, bishop e4. Can't play it. Okay, we gotta do... Yeah, maybe there's no way to move this pawn forward. Maybe you have to play f3. Maybe it's not easy to get it moving. But let's say take, f3. There's a strong chance that white might end up having to sacrifice. Plus the knight is out of play. I'm not sure this is necessarily hopeless. Pavlakic has followed. I Play Poker Badly has resubscribed for 11 months. See what a little sound can do for us? I won't miss any more notifications. You had a threefold repetition without realizing it. Oh, isn't that the worst? So f3's right, although... Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. f3's fine, unless a6 is like a problem at some moment. It's unlikely. This is exciting! Black will have to follow up with bishop e4. And then... I still think he should trade pawns on b5. Why would you not trade pawns on b5? The less pawns, the better. The other way that white can't win is very serious possibility that if black was able to trade off all the pawns and sack his... Well, yeah, probably not. 2 pieces down is a bit much. Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, white having to do bishop and knight checkmate. Wow. Camel Culture just went for the immediate capture. Holy crap. I doubt white's winning it all here. Take. Dude has nothing. I'm not gonna spoil her. It's a draw. Yeah. This is a draw. Damn. Maybe black's better now, theoretically. Oh, draw offer. Okay. Yeah. Bishop b5, knight b7, bishop check. Wow. So let's see the position prior to the sack. Yeah, Camel Culture freaked out. But to be honest, it's not easy to defend this. He did the same thing with no time left and sacked the piece back to avoid losing. So bishop f1, take. I would say bishop e4. It doesn't work because of bishop c4 check. Wow. So he has to play here. Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. It's not an easy win for white. What else is happening? Minor upset. Camel Culture's only blunder. Bishop takes f3. You glad you played on? What? Oh, you were lost in the beginning? Princess chess. You drew? You drew out of Stowe? Nice job. Princess chess can be tough. Princess chess is not to be underestimated. She knows how to take control of the position when she has the advantage. Very tough. Also good in defense. Yeah, this is shaping up to be interesting. Dinakis is 2-0 and I'm 2-0 and that's it. That's weird. Acerbate's not 2-0? How could it be? Camel Culture. I don't think it was easy. You can use the engine there and say, oh well, Camel Culture was winning, but it's still not so easy. Mr. Slow with the win against Schumacher. What happened? It's a good thing that, wow, El Shachmat held Husky to a draw. Oh, that was the unexpected threefold repetition. Husky was better. Better king safety. But allowed an unplanned threefold repetition. +2 engine is really borderline, Jim. When the engine says it's like +2 in a piece up endgame, it's like, all right, yeah, if you play perfect moves, it's +2. Think about it. +2 is if you play like perfect moves depth 20. What if you make like one mistake or something, you know? Then it's like +0.5. If you make like 2 mistakes, you're probably worse or something. Yeah, I mean, it's +2 assuming perfect play, 20 moves depth. Not so easy. I don't know, I feel like I didn't get enough coffee. What's wrong with me? I got my coffee a little bit late. Thomas Trenson streaming as well. Alright, Dinakis, we gotta take him down. He plays fast to avoid time pressure. Thanks, Mr. Coffee, for the coffee. And it's a reverse Trompowski. You know, I studied Alyakin. Uber driver mentioned this. He was completely talking about a different position. Poor Uber driver gets confused. Alyakin played like E takes F here, but it sucks. Really better to play G takes F. Once I realized this is a good move, I'm totally reevaluating this line for white. I always thought it was absolutely nothing. That was my biggest breakthrough. When I studied Alyakin's games, I won the Massachusetts Championship in like 1994. I had been studying just Alyakin's games But this one game in the book, he was kind of lucky. I don't think that like his opening is great. It's better to keep these pawns together. Sorry, to keep all our pawns together. And queen on a4 is actually pretty good. Wow, 2 knights versus 2 bishops. Oh my god. Ooh. No money, no honey. You're gonna give me the b7. I sort of rushed him. I just picked up my king, the bum rush. Does it work in a different order? That would be the same position, Mr. Coffee. You're a statistician. Let me know. Yeah, but the key is to take with the G pawn. It took me like 40 years to realize this. White has a nice position after queen a4. G takes f. Does black have a better move than bishop g4 in that position? So what happens if he plays knight f6? I don't think so. I think like bishop g4 is like forced. Damn. What is this? What is this, I say? Yeah, Dinakis, I don't know, man, what to say. You're like... He comes to my stream like straight out of like a Title Tuesday or something. I mean, you're just playing bullet chess and 7-minute chess. I don't understand what you're doing. Just don't get it. Do not understand. One thing if you're like afraid to get in time pressure, but that's not what's happening here. I mean, he's used 16 seconds for the whole game. What are you thinking? Why? I wonder if he actually has some chances here. Maybe castles is not good. Not my best. I was actually thinking he could play knight f5. That's a good move. Knight f5. No, I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. Right. If d4, d5, knight f3, knight c6, c4, what's black supposed to play other than bishop g4? If knight f6, c takes d, black has a terrible position. He just played queen back to d8. Speaking of terrible positions, what about getting my bishop in the game? Wow, this is just really horrible for black. Oh, you're going to g5. Oh shit, it's like a massive cheapo. Knight f5, queen c6, queen g5 check, king h1, and then I have like f4. Don't hang your knight on c6 because my queen can like defend. It can defend the diagonal from there. Man, I feel like I need like a caffeine injection. I think that playing an opening you've played 1,000 times quickly isn't that tragic. Dude, what he's played here is tragic. Whether he's played it 1,000 times or not. I mean, this is tragic. No, this is seriously tragic. But he's continuing. Now he's taking time. It's really bad. If it's like the Marshall Gambit, man, and yeah, you're in book on move 15, that's another story. But I mean, we left theory on like move 4, move 6. I mean, we're out of book on move 6 with bishop takes c3 check. What is he supposed to play here? I think knight on g to e7 anyway. Maybe queen d7 is possible. He's playing the Veresov with tempo down with black. But I'm not just talking about this game. He's done it constantly. Some people like hate getting in time pressure. They're terrified of time pressure, so they play too fast. But this is like on another level. Reconnecting. Uh-oh. Do we lose connection? So his knights are like tied down together. If I play that, you know, if I play g6, he might be able to sack a piece with knight g6 for real. This is funny. Funny, haha. I wonder about king h1. The redundant knights. With the idea of e4. King h1 with the idea of e4. Knight b8. Now that's an awesome move. You gotta love that. Gotta love knight b8. All right. Satan. So Elon Musk. Interesting. Knight b8, you gotta love this move. This is an awesome move, actually. Not to be underestimated. That move is not to be underestimated. It takes a lot of guts to play knight b8. Uh-oh. We could be in trouble. Oh man, Mr. Coffee, I didn't tell you what happened. How did it turn out? He like overslept the last day. Now I'm officially confused. No, he just overslept round 6 and then withdrew. Because he was going to play like a 1700 in the last round. He's constantly complaining of insomnia. Have you ever heard of a wake-up call? No, he wasn't prepared. He didn't realize the tournaments like typically have the round like earlier on the last day. Poor move 11 just rarely played in tournaments. He didn't know that was like a standard thing. Mr. Coffee, you would never oversleep, right? But it was weird, man. It was 2 hours difference. Is that normal? What kind of tournament has a 2-hour difference between like the day's starting times? Really? 2-hour difference? Why? Why would they make it a 2-hour difference? I don't understand. That's crazy. 1 hour is not enough, or? I have no idea what I'm supposed to do now. The Do Now commission. No, I get that, Mr. Coffee. Of course, it's the same way all over the world, but why 2 hours? It just seems like an inordinate difference. 1 hour would be normal. Inordinate. Ornery. This guy is tricky with the weirdness. Playing chess with the weirdness. Yes. What other move would you play? I mean, honestly. As if there's another move besides Queen F6 there. I felt good, but I'm like suddenly like super sleepy. What's going on with me? Now I'm undeveloping? Systematically, Sledgy then systematically undeveloped all of his pieces. We switch sides. Ruslan Kamsky. Bam. Good game, Ruslan. So sleepy. What happened to me? It's weird. I don't know, man. I just have sudden, like, tiredness. I was feeling good. When in doubt, sacrifice a piece for nothing. He didn't literally have to do that. You hate the tournaments that get scheduled on the time change weekends. Well, Princess Chess is right about that. Like, I could understand there's a 2-hour difference if it's like, if there's like a time, you know, exactly, time change weekend. I think it's unfair to the players to change the schedule by that much. You know what I mean? That's my point. Changing it by 1 hour doesn't like affect people that much, but you're kind of pushing the envelope with the 2 hours, I think. I guess I should have played for mates somehow. No. Not big on resigning. The Chigoran. You traded queens. He did that. Master had that move. You know he's going to see everything, right? He sees every mate in one. Literally every single mate in one. You know those guys you play sometimes? Usually it's little kids. But they're like the world's leading expert in preventing mate in one. And they will never resign. No matter how lost the position is. He's kind of doing that. Yeah, I'm kind of messing this up, actually. Let's not. Let's nod and say we did. Now he has a reason not to resign. He has a passed A-pawn on the 6th or 5th rank. I wasted time with rook G7. Been hanging out with Asterbait. I wonder how Hikaru feels about the Lugi. Alright. Wonder if Hans and Lugi have the same lawyers. Would that be a coincidence? It just doesn't matter. So now they found classified docs at Pence's home? Who's leading this like classified doc search anyway? They're just like randomly searching everyone's home. Mr. Coffee's home. They found classified docs. Thanks for the update, Mr. Coffee. This is like painful. Dinekis is not like 4 years old. Surprisingly, he's actually an adult. I think. Has anyone ever heard of like a shredder? Wait, is it a penalty to like shred classified docs? I guess so. Is that worse than keeping them? If you shred them, no one can find them. Oh, he lost on time. Who would have thunk it? Jim's playing. Jacquemont's definitely not resigning. Resigning with a past 8-pawn is not a popular thing. Wow, this is actually kind of interesting. This is a draw. Worth a try, I guess, but I'm only a learner at best. We don't judge people based on how good they are at chess. As long as you're legit and you've got 100 games. We actually don't have enough players who are under 1,800 on this team, so you're more than welcome to join Barfing Rat. It's all relative. I mean, we all suck compared to Magnus Carlsen, so what's the difference? If I suck a little bit less than you do, since like 1994, Aspirate, that's too much information, bro. Alright. Look at all those friends I have online. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 friends. I have 10 friends. I can't believe it. Hard to believe that I have 10 friends. Anyway, I've offended almost everyone. Again, thanks to the resub from I Play Poker Badly. Yesterday's donation from Shelly Mays. Mr. Chess, 1978. After hearing all this about cheesesteaks, you had to go grab supper. The problem is I didn't get the right kind of steak. It's got to be like, for cheesesteaks, it's got to be a little bit of fat on the meat. You can't have it be too lean. Sorochi just subscribed to Tier 1. Our original moderator. Jeroen, welcome. The original moderator. He's been retired. Okay, back to tournament. View tournament. 2 minutes to go. Husky Camel Culture lurking. Still 4 rounds left. You can still join. Doesn't the cheese fat with the meat fat make it really oily? Of course. All I know is, like, I looked it up because I had never actually seriously tried to make cheesesteaks like a pro. And I was surprised. Ribeye steak is expensive, man. One of the better cuts of steak, really. Not like, you know, filet mignon, but I mean, it's apparently you got tired. I'm like sleeping out, man. I don't know what happened to me. I just got real sleepy. I think I'm having like a diabetic coma. I am from Philly. Technically. Technically not, but technically I am. I'm from a Philly suburb in New Jersey, which is, you know, really close. That's where I was born and raised, so cheesesteaks were like part of our life there. One of the only things I don't think you can get in Budapest, Hungary is a cheesesteak. That wasn't Camel Culture, it was Resident Spectator. I don't know why I thought it was Camel Culture asking me that question. It's weird. West Philadelphia. Yeah, I did like deep internet research today, Resident Spectre. I would never mislead you. It's usually made with ribeye, although you can use other kinds of steak like flank steak. Although I'm sure a lot of people cheat, you know. Camel Clutcher. Dinosaur steaks. Made with fresh dinosaur. C4. Going back to my hedgehog days. Or Queen's Indian. The quid. Quid doesn't sound. It doesn't sound good. People are constantly referring to the kid. You never hear like the quid. Quid is like British pounds, right? Man, Magnus lost a horrible game against Geary. I didn't like his prep in that game. What was he doing? He had like no winning chances. He played a novelty in the Queen's Indian. In a position where he objectively has like very little to zero winning chances. And what was the point? Against the database, the human database. Geary. That was weird. But he came back amazingly. You know, you gotta give Magnus... I hate his new haircut, by the way. Does anybody agree with me? Magnus looks stupid. I mean, I'm not exactly like, you know, Mr. Haircut Master or whatever. But I'm not the world champion either. He looks stupid. He looked better before. Now he looks like... I don't know. He looks goofy. D5 here? What is that? That's a weird move. What are you doing? What a weird move. Raise your hand. Let's have a quota. Mr. Coffee, let's get a survey. So we need a Magnus haircut survey somehow. Magnus' hair's looking good. I liked it better before, or he should just shave it all off and go with the full Maurice Ashley. Survey says, what's up with this variation? Anyway. Seriously, Chemical, what is this? What is this? I said. No need to shout. Magnus looks more and more. You know what it is? The new haircut makes him look like a Neanderthal. More so than ever. It's just weird that a world chess champion would be a Neanderthal. It seems strange to me. Is this like a real variation? This is an actual thing? Thing-a-ling. We're going to have a thing-a-ling. You like double pawns? Fine. I have an interesting idea. Can we get a survey? All of those in favor that Magnus Carlsen looks like a Neanderthal, raise your hands. His hair looked better before. Now it's like too fluffy or something. Of course, it's not as bad. Maybe Hans influenced him or something. They're going to have like a hair battle. Hans versus Magnus hair battle. They'll both look like Richard Simmons after a while. I know what I need. I need beer. I haven't had a beer since Saturday. That's what's going on. Chemical Tree, did you play this against me before? Like somebody played this against me before. The problem is I don't know who the suspect was. Are you undermining my bishop on b7? What would happen if I like sacrificed the exchange? I bet you would just grab it like a hungry wolf. Controversy? About what? Magnus's hair? Do you think he'll take legal actions against me? I love controversy. I have no right to, I really don't have any right. But he's like Mr. Chess model. How can Magnus not have good hair? It's just embarrassing. I think he looks stupid. When you look like a Neanderthal, you've got to be very careful about your hairstyling. There's no room for compromise there. Who's my favorite past? Don't call me that. You're sure you're not from India? I don't know, man. You're certain you're not from India? Mr. Pascal, sir? This is getting suspicious. There's nothing wrong with being from India, but let's just be honest about it. Some people try to hide their identity. Who is my favorite player? See, I don't like that question. I never answer these questions. What's your favorite music? Who's your favorite player? I don't like narrowing it down, you know. What's your favorite movie? It's hard. I don't really have like a single favorite of anything, you know. I have like a lot of things that I like. So I can't really answer those kind of questions. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do the who's your favorite, what's your favorite. It limits me. Where do you have your favorite cheesesteak? New Jersey! You're in New York. Wow, knight b3. Camel Culture is a sick puppy. You are a sick puppy, bro. Can I do this? Is this even legal? It looks okay. New York. No, I always hate when people ask me what's my favorite chess player. Favorite anything. It's just hard to answer that question. Favorite chess player. There's too many, you know. Why narrow it down? I'm not really like. I'm more old school, like classic players. Bishop h3. So I wouldn't say someone modern like Hikaru. Hikaru is definitely not my favorite player. My favorite was when he like knocked over all the pieces and flagged me with like king against king and queen. Alright. Bishop f6. This looks like a move. Camel Culture. What are you doing? Oh, you're back again. Did he blunder? It can't be. You just hung a central pawn? Dude, this is like Halloween. And that strange neighbor across the street gave you a piece of candy. Let's make sure this isn't poisoned or something. My favorite chess player. Livermore? Livermore the chess player? The Blitz Hustler from New York City? I don't even know what Livermore's first name was. I don't think I ever actually played him. kind of before my time. A little. I was never one to frequent park chess in New York City. But if we first narrowed it down to world champions, who's my favorite world champion? It's still hard, you know. Botvinnik, Alekhine. It probably wouldn't be, you know, Fischer, Kasparov like most people. I hate like I mean, frankly, if I'm being honest, frankly, my dear, I like underdogs, so I don't like picking, like, yeah, being on the bandwagon. I just think that Botvinnik influenced me the most as a player. Maybe. And I was inspired by Alekhine. As I said earlier, you know, the players that I studied the most are these, like, classic world champions who are old even in my time. I don't know. I was never excited by Capablanca. Although I respect he was a great player. He's not exciting, you know? My favorite world champions would probably be Botvinnik and Alekhine. And it's not because I'm some Russophile or something. It has nothing to do with their like nationality. I guess I just learned the most from their games. I feel like. Then Camel Culture can claim that I play the Grunfeld every game. I wonder why. Maybe because I was influenced by the two, probably the two major Grunfeld creators, right? Botvinnik and Alekhine. Coordination. He doesn't like that. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like me when I'm angry, Camel Culture. He's a sleazy... Camel Culture is a sleazy blitz hustler. Speaking of sleazy blitz hustlers, I'm just keeping the tension, the master of tension. Something's gotta happen around here. He's guarding against knight f2. He's a defensive genius, actually. Love the way he's keeping the tension in this game. Oh no. No! We don't do that here. When is the cheapo? When is the cheapo landing? Cheapoville. One flew over the cheapo's nest. Check. Is there a mate? No. No mate. So sleazy. Not only sleazy, but a defensive genius as well. I respect that. That's too slow, isn't it? He's defense to everything. Did I click the resign button yet? Wait a minute. No way. That's the best you come up with? I'm so disappointed. You're doing good until that. You had Queen F1. It feels like Queen F1 is still holding on. This was not Camel Culture's best game. Wait. Another. My other brother. Alright. Yeah. When Nefedov says it's time to resign, it's time to resign. Alright, we got Poirot. Poirot? Poirot. Poirot. Did you create your account today? It's like Poirot 123. Oh, this is 123. Poirot 123. Uh-oh. He's won every game he's played. No. That's a strong player. Alright. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't accept him for our team. Who are you? No, you are fate. Nefedov, you are not late, you are fate. Obviously, Camel Culture was happy to see you arriving with that comment. I am fate as usual. Husky is fate. Slowhand has 3. I watched probably every Poirot episode. Gotta love Poirot. Dunekas has 3 out of 4. Playing Thomas Transon. Wait, that's over. Okay. All the games are completed. We have 3 more rounds. Wow. There's still 3 more rounds. Yeah, David, what's his name? The original, you know, the most famous Poirot. This classic. Nifidov, what is your problem? Why do you have so many... That's Peter Ustinov? Nifidov, why do you have so many enemies? David Suchet. No, I'm thinking of David Suchet. Poor Camel Culture. He's on your banned list too? Man, who's not on Nefidov's banned list? Surprised I'm not on it. What did they do? I could get Bob, but I don't know, man. I can understand putting Bob on your list. Other than that, I don't understand. All right. We've got 4. Husky has 3.5. Mr. Slow has 3. Dinekis has 3. Chemiculture with 2.5. Goiju and Morphe. Morphe's new here. This is a strong tournament. Aldisto. Yeah, I have the Poirot on DVD as well. Princess just left us. Princess just has left the building. So what do we play against Husky? Well, at least I got white. He's really going up. 25-37 and rising. So what does he play again? Queen's Gambit? Queen's Gambit Catalan? Rogozin? No. Normal Queen's Gambit. Did anybody see the Poirot with John Malkovich? It got kind of bad reviews. Amazon. I like John Malkovich, honestly. I think he's a great actor. Maybe the rest of the film, I thought it was decent, actually. I think that John Malkovich has been good in everything he's ever done. Being John Malkovich, Rounders. The Joseph Conrad Heart of Darkness. What else? Do the Russian accent. That's like the Shrek. Do the roar. I'll do the no, we don't do Russian accents here. Alright. Knight d5. I can play bishop takes d5. What's up with that? If I play bishop takes d5. Mon ami. But that's French. I can't do French. I can't do any accents, actually. I'm terrible with accents. That's why I'm a chess player. Not a comedian. I could have played rook b1. Whoa. Dude, man. There would have to be a lot of calculation to play that move. If you see what's happening here. Knight b5. Knight b5, bishop a6, rook takes c7. Queen b4. Rook takes d7. Bishop takes b5. Are you serious? So you calculated all that in advance? Or you're just lucky? He's just lucky. It just happens that that doesn't work. It's a total coincidence. Wow. It's just, I don't think I can do it. I just have to, like, let it go, you know? It's just, I waste too much time. But see how much easier it is to be like, ignorant and not even see this stuff? If you're black here? He saved time by just blundering that move. I have to actually sit here and work it out. And sit in disbelief. Knight b5, bishop a6, rook c7. Queen b4, a4, queen takes a4. Aphids. It's unbelievable. My queen ends up being like on the wrong square. I guess it's not that well placed in this position on e2. What is it doing on e2 in this type of position? What does that do for me? Other than like be pinned on the e file. So I'm 2 minutes down thinking about a tactic that should have worked but didn't because of random chance. I just keep feeling like there might have been something I missed there. But there's no sense wasting your time wondering about, well, what could have been. You just have to play practically in this modern Magnus Carlsen era. Gnarly. Where did the word gnarly evolve from? 80s surfing culture. Gnarlton Cheston. Sounds like a porno star. The A5, classic Tartakover. Pawn takes pawn, B5, Queen B3, Rook A5, A4. Or I could just play Queen B3 in the first place. Yeah, I like this. No, I can play A4, B4, Knight A2. He can't fix that queenside the way they want to do in the Tartakover. He wants to fix the queenside. Fix this, bro. The B5 and all that crap is a normal strategy in this type of Queen's Gambit. I learned that a long time ago from Yuli Kolutkin, who was a... If Uber Driver was here, he would remember Yuli from the Boylston Chess Club. His favorite plan was doing like b5 and knight b6 and knight c4 in the Queen's Gambit. Now white is better. Better? Are we better? You better believe it. Queen a4. Or rook b1 first, and then queen a4. Quiet. Oh, kaleidoscope. Colonoscopy guy. That's a lot of pondos. Right. Okay. So how do I make progress now? The question everyone has been dying to ask. What would Anatoly Karpov do? Keep it simple. Husky's amazingly fast. He's only 2,300 in bullet, though. Not that high. I would be at least the same. On my Smurf account, I was like 2,400 in bullet. But not that many games. Last year, whenever it was, I tried. What's up with Queen C7? Oh, you want to go there? What was my plan again? Wait. Yeah, what was the point of this? I don't know. Princess Chess is back. Yes? You're back. Karpov would like this position. It's totally up his alley. Rook b8, queen b8, queen a5. What's the problem? Knight b8. Knight e5. Knight e5, interesting. I always prefer to go for the cheapo when in doubt. Thanks, John Daly. So tough. There was a piece sacrifice I can play here. Knight takes d5, pawn d5, queen e8, check. King h7, knight f5, knight e5. We could try to set it up. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Oh, that's an interesting idea. You can't go wrong with knight e5. Threatening nothing. I'm threatening something, I just don't know what it is. Well, the piece sacrifice gets scarier now. So he played that move. Knight g6 is interesting. Knight d5. I was just going to go back. There was no plan, really. Just, oh, I had a perpetual there. Wait, what's up here? Some weaknesses on the king side, you say. Pawn weaknesses? Where? You don't say. I don't know what to do. I'm better. He can talk and chew gum at the same time. Unbelievable. Yeah. Wait, what are you doing over there? Huh. I'm just kidding. Wait, what are you doing over there? Seriously. Kaleidoscope guy, that's really annoying. Wow. It's amazingly distracting. I like that. It's like putting flashing lights on the chat. Mickey Mouse hands. Mm-hmm. Queen B2 has been called. Oh, that's a check. That was a check. Why do I never have any sort of threat? And how does he always have so much time? Obviously, Kaleidoscope guy is not on my side. If you're typing in that shit in the chat, you're not on my team. Alright, what are we going to do here? 96, nothing works. Nothing works. I can never win. It's unbelievable. I'll just have to take an endgame if I can get it. Oh my god. Queen F7? How can he be so fast? He never uses any time for his moves. It's weird. Hope springs eternal. And there's never a knockout blow when you need one. Check. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. It's so hard to kill him. I say we go for the king and pawn endgame. We can eventually win, I hope. I hope. I'm actually not sure now. I think we do. The creation, I don't think it matters. Well, I mean, here's a tempo. But I don't think it matters. Right? Creation of two connected passed pawns. The creation. But I want to have my king like close enough so I'm in the zone. Here. King zone. What? You're kidding me, right? Obviously, I played this the best possible way. Queen G1 check, King F6. He found C5 using no time at all. It's like the longest 7-5 rapid game in the history of chess. Not sure that was the most accurate move by me. Crazy. Camel Culture is coming back. 3.5. Mr. Slow with 3.5. D-Neck is 3.5. Everybody has 3.5. Aldisto has 3. Tomas has 2.5. Goiju has 2.5. And Bisonov has 2.5. You have to withdraw. Alright, Goiju, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the donation earlier. 500 bits. This is a good tournament today. 30 players. And lots of players over 2,000. NM Camel Culture, Mr. Slow, Dinekis, Husky, and the new player Morphe. We don't have any read on this guy, by the way. USCF. Oh, he's a big bullet player. Alright, as long as you're not a troll, you're welcome in the team. Okay, Mr. Slow, undefeated. Draw with Dinekis. What did you do? Get in time pressure? Time pressure? 2 rounds to go, guys. Maybe I should drink a beer. My first beer since Saturday. I'm in like beer recovery mode. Too much beer on Saturday. I am not dependent on beer. That doesn't mean I can't have a beer. Sunday, no beer. Monday, no beer. That's 2 days without beer. How many days does the river... Weird. The river. The liver needs to recover. Creative in all things. Who's that? Oh, your sister. Piano chess and content creation. Piano chess. The Zeph cat. She sometimes streams too late for me, probably. Alright, 5. Mr. Slow. I'm going with the full D4 today. He's not playing the King's Indian. He switched on me. He switched up to Bogo. Oh, he doesn't play C5 there. Interesting. Alright, so it's... I've been forced to play the Catalan. If you don't play the Catalan, you're just a wimp. I mean, what else are you going to do here? Like, B3? That's stupid. That's all you can do. Or you actually, what can you do? Can you do like the... No. There's nothing else to do, really. I mean, like the Kali system. So Mr. Slow's trying to go with the C5. It's a variation. It's a variation. He didn't take. So this is straight up like Catalan main line. Catalonia. Leave the Catalonia! Alright. That was a former cat's name. Rip. Rip Cat. Early 2000s cat. Catalonia. Mr. Slow could play the semi-Tarash. Like a real chicken. You donated to the beer fund. Yeah. Well, Nefedov, I bought a new apartment, although the deal is not completed yet. And it's interesting because my new apartment, if I move there, ever, like sometime in the spring, it's really close to another Belgian beer place that's really good. So if you ever come and visit me, I'll take you to a nice restaurant where they have good Belgian beer. Come, play some chess. Get out of here. Horrible, terrible, delicious. That's what this Indian player laughingly said in this tournament and no, it was in Szeged years ago. He was a funny guy. I still don't know if he was being serious or not. First N round. You guys, you statistician people. Thank you, Nefedov, for the donation. So Mr. Slow is playing the Tarash. The real proper Tarash. Not the chicken version with knight takes d5. Dude, I think the Tarash is okay, you know? It's okay. It just, like, you have to be a specialist in it. No, we had these dogs that were constantly chasing the cat, and we needed to name the cat because the cat didn't have a name. And we realized we were like constantly telling the dog to leave the cat alone, or dogs. So the name just, it was born. Catalonia. We're like, wait, we should call the cat Catalonia. Okay. That's a genius idea. Meowron. Yeah. Klingon names are really in. I cry. 50 million. $100 million deal? Chess streamer signs $100 million deal. Where is my opponent? Princess Chess got stood up? Now who would stand up Princess Chess? Princess Chess might stand someone up, but I don't think anyone would ever stand her up. What's up with Mr. Slow? He's literally taking his name too seriously here. Mr. Slow must have gone... I don't know where he went. He does not, like, think in the mainline Tarash position on move 9. This is, like... Swedish variation? Or take. Swedish fish. I miss Swedish fish. I remember being like 8 years old. One of my favorite things. Oh, they're talking about... Yeah, I don't know Dave Chappelle. You stood one guy up when I was 16. Damn, what's up with Mr. Slow? Am I lagging? Am I lagging? He really took that long. That's crazy. Hey, it's Miro. Played Queen B6 against me. The ex-student who hates me variation. The guy was kind of weird. You can't get along with everybody, you know. I've had a very good experience, like, working with people. To be honest, it's kind of shocking. In my experience teaching people chess, like 99% of people are like really nice. Only less than 1% have been problematic. That's probably less than, you know, the regular population and pretty much anything else. Rook e8 without h6. So what's the difference if you omit h6 here, Mr. Slow? Wait, are you talking about n squared? The square root of n. I think Nefedov has some math thing going on. Arkansas. I'm from Arkansas. I was talking to my psychiatrist last week about moments of rage in my life. One of them was the time that Boris Privman just kept pressing my clock back. I wanted to like rip his head off. Alright. That was funny, man. I still have people coming up to me. I remember the time that you like... I remember the time at the Blitz tournament when you were like screaming at this guy. But generally I have very good control. We're doing good. We're doing well. Rook e8. It takes a lot to piss me off these days. Much better at controlling my anger. Rook e8. Rook c1. The psychologist, Asterbait. I'm a student of psychology. Now we transpose. Or not. Or not. Whatever happened to Laura Ross? Princess Chess, maybe you remember her. Was she... No, she's younger than you, I guess. She was like a student of Joel Benjamin who reached master strength and then just disappeared. It's kind of sad when like women players get to master strength and then they just like disappear. Well, anybody, but especially with women. It takes a lot, you know, to get to master level and then just disappear and never play chess again. Karpov always seems to play h3 or a3. The guy resigns 10 moves later. Come on. I think I had this game with Lara Ross. But I don't know, maybe I didn't play Rook c1. I think she played Bishop g4 against me. Nefedov, do you play the Tarash sometimes? No? Have you played the Tarash? Why do I feel like Nefedov has played the Tarash? Who's played the Tarash against me? Mark Krauser. Are you guys talking about the week in chess? Sorry, it's a stupid joke. Okay, Bishop f4, Ruslan Sherbakov. I remember once he had a game where he beat a friend of mine with something like this. You don't play Tarash? Yeah, I told many times on the stream I played Magaramov a lot of games in Blitz, and I always assumed that he and Kasparov had the same coach. Very strange. Mr. Slow's just playing something. I think he just doesn't know it. You know, he always plays quickly. He never would spend like 5 minutes in the opening, unless he just doesn't know. He just doesn't know it. Usually Mr. Slow knows the lines. But he normally plays that King's Indian. Cream of Crowder. Beef Crowder. Chowder Bowl. What was the Chowder Bowl? The Lobster Bowl. Chowder Bowl. Turkey Bowl. It's funny, maybe Mr. Karp is doing the Karpov to me. Karpov would never play the Tarash. Tarash is probably a lot of work to prepare it for black. Also a lot of lines where you're like kind of defending slightly unpleasant positions, I imagine. What would John Bartholomew do? Am I supposed to play knight a4? Is that a blunder? Okay, normally my bishop's not... Yeah, my bishop's not on f4. This might not be right here. I'm supposed to be on e3. Knight a4, I don't know about it in this position. Doesn't seem quite right. Yeah, you confused me. No one's ever used this move order against me before. Rook e8 first. I know that's a variation, but no one plays it. And now queen a5. Rook c6, pawn c6, knight c6. Sacking the exchange. For dynamics. Then you get the Magaramov queen. He always puts his queen on b5 every game. Yeah, I used to think like that too, Kaleidoscope Guy, but I've developed more appreciation for the... It's like, yeah, it's really easy to beat like noobs in the Tarash. But when you realize, like, when you play high-level players, like, I guess it takes a lot of skill to play the Tarash, really, objectively. There's no way, like, beginners should play it and expect good results. At least not quickly. Yeah, this seems like he's okay. Queen a5 makes sense. Now maybe the Karpovian a3. What does that do? Now all my time is disappearing. I wanted to sack the exchange here. Just for kicks and giggles. This is purely to show that it can be done. But it's only equal. GM Tranquilizer rating with a party of 48. You feel really old. No, but I mean, he has to be... You are really old. But it's all relative, right? E3. Oh my god. Tranquilizer, thanks for the raid. How goes the Tata? Coverage. Thank you, man. Guys, check out Levente Vita. Great chess player. Chill streamer. Covering Tata Wikanze every day here. Join us in following GM Tranquilizer. I decided to sacrifice an exchange. Just for fun. Because I can. Now you're starting to annoy me. That's not a very nice move. Queen b4. That's really alarming. Queen b4 is a bad omen. Don't like queen b4. Exclam! Triple exclam! Queen a1! What? Wow. He sees everything. Everything. I guess I have no choice. Mate. No. He sees literally everything. Literally. It's literal. It's literal now. I don't think I should trade rooks objectively. But I was scared. I'm not afraid to admit. Two bishops. My God, what am I doing? That's exactly what I just said. My God, what am I doing? I just hung my bishop on f1. But why not king g2? Why not king f3? I don't know, Nefedov, if I'm winning. Maybe. I'm not so sure about it, to be honest with you. Can I have a take back? I don't think I'm winning. I don't know. I doubt I'm winning. I think it's probably close. Maybe it's a draw. I just hung a bishop. I got a little ahead of myself. Yeah, it was back and forth. I was yeah, no, it's not winning. In fact, I'm actually losing. So Nefedov. It's nice to have two passed pawns, but I don't really have two passed pawns. I just have one. In reality, these are frozen. I'm actually close to losing it, looks like. Anyway, even without the blunder. So I shouldn't have given him the two bishops. But the exchange sack was just, I was kind of messing around. I shouldn't have played rook d4. The computer thinks it's okay. I don't know, I just didn't calculate. I was lazy here. No, it's a draw, probably. Alright, good game. No name. I have lost. Ruined my tournament, of course. Undefeated. Dude, where is my freaking tournament, man? One ongoing game. Well, that wrecks everything. Mr. Slowhand, undefeated. He drew Aldisto, beat Sumaher. He drew Snedsteg. He beat El Shakmat. He drew Nadekis, and he beat me. Motivation issue. Yeah, I was liberal. I wouldn't have sacked the exchange if I wasn't ahead of the field by a point. I got fancy. But I still shouldn't have lost. El Shachmat is playing. As soon as I break out the beer, I start losing. Stop far again. No, I knew it was too fancy to sack the exchange. I did it anyway. It's like, oh, it just looks like fun. I know that I can't be worse here, so let's just do it. Even though you objectively know it's not the best move, you do it anyway. Just because it's like entertainment or whatever. Thank you, no name. He whose name shall not be mentioned. Masturbate on the leaderboard, really. But I've played most of the highest rated players. The problem is there's so many of them. Man, Stock Bargain has so much time. The situation is not so clear now. Why does he have so much time? So it's possible to play king back, allow a protected passer, and try to blockade. But I guess the question would be like, how do you make forward progress if you do that? D5? Wow. D5 is a really interesting move here. Pawn brothers. Unite. D5. I gotta give you guys some hope. Yeah, motivation issue. I gotta give them some motivation. Pawn to fast, rapid. So, Aldisto still... Oof. Aldisto draw first round against Mr. Slow. He drew Princess Chess, lost to Camel Culture, and then won 3 in a row. My tie breaks are incredible. Only Mr. Slow and Camel Culture can finish ahead of me. Have they played each other? No. So that's got to be the last round pairing. Mr. Slow versus Camel Culture. And it's unlikely they would draw. I mean, they're both aggressive players. Draw is not that likely. So I really have to win the last round. Or at least not lose. Okay, I basically have to play for a draw in the last round. I have to play not to lose. Did you play D5? Yeah. Yes. This is amazing. And that pawn isn't going to hurt. We've got 2 against 1. Yeah, it's winning for white. It's really... I don't think it's necessary to take this pawn on e4, but... Okay, if you insist. White is winning. So I play Aldisto, and they play each other. Mr. Slow and Camel Culture. Yeah, the pairing's basically forced. I mean, Morphe, whoever that was, is gone. I guess. So, that should be the pairings. I just have to draw. Aldisto. Astrobate on the leaderboard with 3 victories. Astrobate, you beat Pyrat. Forfeit against Ruslan. You got 2 forfeits. Nice job. Alright. Astrobate with 3 points. Is this over? Yeah. Alright, time to resign. Tomas. I was too too fancy against Mr. Slow. But what the hell happened in the opening? He used all of his time and beat me? Rookie 8 is very rare. Yeah, as I said, what's the first game on the Opening Explorer? Alexander versus Magaramov, 2001. I played the guy like a million Blitz games. So A6. Oof. A6 is like the engine's second choice. And the move Bishop F8, which is very natural, has never been played. Because everyone's afraid of like knight here, but it doesn't work. Wow. So everyone just assumes this fork is deadly, but apparently black has d4. Interesting. Mr. Slow played no mistakes, no blunders. 24 CPL. Wow, I was totally lost. You had knight e4. Wow, I was really smoking crack here. I was playing like Emery Tate. Triple exclam, queen a1. Yeah, I went too far. And it's like half a beer and I'm totally wasted. Alright, whatever. I'm not literally wasted. I'm like emotionally wasted for some reason. I totally let myself go. I fought really hard in the first 5 games and I needed to just like freak out and play like an idiot. I didn't think it was that bad. Wow. You're +4 after queen a1. Knight e4. Time for a political rant. Emotionally wasted equals chilled and relax. Dude, Tranquilizer's like every time it's like every stream he has is like chilled, but nobody can be like chilled all the time. That's just impossible. I know for a fact he's not always chilled. We almost like came to blows once. Alright. Aldisto. Yes, Aldisto. Yeah, we gotta play e5 against him. This is practice for my game on Sunday. Draw, agreed. Yes, d5, now. Don't make me tilt. If I play the Elephant Gambit, I'm definitely gonna be 2 and 5, or 5 and 2. I didn't play the Petrov, so I could play... I mean, I didn't play e4, e5, so I could play the Elephant Gambit. 1 d5 agreed. Oh, you like the d5 because he plays that rubbish Gambit or whatever. Right. This is how Levy beat me, actually. The one game I've ever recently lost... Well, in the last 20 years. I lost to d5 once before. I remember I lost... Some guy played the King's Gambit against me. One of my rare e4, e5 games. I've probably played e5 in less than 10 games. But objectively... Oh, he's just playing reverse filter. Yeah, we did this before. Okay. It takes me a little while to figure out where the hell I am. It's the reverse Philidor. You must see Jam Tranquilizer reacting to cheaters. Angriest person in the world. But all of his stream titles are chill, you know. Yeah, I don't remember how we got into a fight once. It was definitely alcohol related. Something stupid. It wasn't real. How's the poker? 15-hour session. I'm doing like endurance poker. It took me like a day to recover. Alright, let's just like randomly take some space on the queen side. Poker's boring unless you're drunk, and it's not good to play. It's not good to play poker drunk for more than medium to low stakes. So it's. I've had some adventures, but I never. I would never play for serious stakes while I'm drinking alcohol. Mostly, I just play with friends and or casual games. I gave up serious poker. You need a lot of money. You really do, I think. You need more money than I have to play poker professionally, very seriously. All right. Any U.S. trips planned? No. I was telling my friend Biri Balash, who's a pro Omaha player, that I didn't go to the Prague. I didn't go to EPT Prague because I put all my money into real estate, buying an apartment. And that's also applying to traveling to the US. Like, I don't have enough money, like, saved up. I just don't have enough money, cash, to risk, like, spending 5 to 10 grand, like, traveling to the United States. It's a huge expense. If I ever go to the United States, you gotta pay airfare, car rental. I mean, it's just like, eventually I have to do it because I have to get my stuff out of my. In other words, you're okay, but you're not liquid. Yeah, and real estate market here is really bad. I need to sell my apartment, and it's like, this is the worst, the most dead the real estate market has been here in apparently like 13 years. So it's like not a good time to sell. There's nobody buying. Lionel Chessy. Trump reaches peak insanity over classified docs. Yeah, we didn't get enough political ranting in here today. I just don't have the money to travel right now. If I can sell my old apartment, then I'll be fine. But my friend Biri Balish was like, "Oh, Bill, you can't miss big tournaments like this. You know, you only live once. Really good events like Prague, EPT, you can't miss it." But he's right. Like, life is short, but at the same time, I mean, you know, that's the thing, man. You gotta have like lots of money. If I had tons of money, if I was a millionaire, I could be a professional poker player. You can't be a professional poker player if you're afraid to like lose your money. I mean, it's a disaster. I know people who are like that. They try to play poker and they don't have enough money, and you play afraid, and it's just not a good scene, you know. You cannot play poker if you're afraid of losing. And I mean, chess too, but chess isn't for money, you know. I mean, it's like I have the same problem. I mean, I'm afraid. I don't like losing. You know, it's not afraid of losing, but I don't like losing in chess. So that's why I have a problem with maybe like too many draws. I have an aversion to losing. One of my biggest weaknesses is my aversion to losing. Look at the way that Carlsen lost 2 games and came back and won 2 games. It's unbelievable. Again, I'm no Magnus fan, but man, you got to give him credit, dude. I mean, losing to Giri and then Abitsurov or whatever his name is, the Grand Prix guy, or the knockout, was it the knockout championship, whatever? No, Grand Prix. The Uzbek. How can he lose 2 games in a row and immediately just come back and beat like 2 very strong players? It helps if one of your opponents is named Richard Rockport. I just realized that that's a big, that's a very important factor. If you lose 2 games and your next opponent is named Rockport Ricard, you probably have a chance, because Richard is like one of the most inconsistent players as well, so. It helped Carlsen that Rockport was his next opponent after losing 2 games. Seriously. If you're gonna play anybody, you want it to be Rockport. Totally inconsistent, crazy, risk-taking, high variance. Speaking of EV, what the Rockport is like chess-wise, the highest EV, not EV, but highest variance, the highest variance player, right? Jabava, Rockport. Still, psychologically to come back, it's hard, man. You're world champion, your ego's on the line, and Magnus lost 2 games in classical time control in a row, came back and won 2 games in a row. That's really impressive. Right. But Magnus is not a streaky... Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that Magnus is a streaky player. He's just freaking good. But he's strong psychologically. Very strong. To come back like that. Doesn't lose his confidence. You just get pissed off. That's what happens with me. I get pissed off and then I play better. The last 3 poker sessions I've played, I've lost a lot. Almost every time. And only started winning once I get like angry. Magnus did the same thing. If you don't have that motivation... Mr. Soder, somebody mentioned motivation. Was that you, Uber driver? No, Nefedov. You need the motivation, I get angry when I start losing. And then I start trying harder. I guess Magnus does the same thing, but just better than me. Yeah, anybody can lose 2 games in a row. But you know how rare it is for Carlsen to lose 2 games in a row? Blitz or rapid? Maybe not. But in classical? Okay, so what do we do here? What's the plan? What's the plan, Sam? This is a weird move. What books on strategy would you recommend for someone trying to reach 2,000? I mean, the best book I know is the Uva series on the middle game, I think. It's not overtly called a strategy book, the middle game by Uva and Kramer. But basically most strategy applies to the middle game. It's called the middle game, but it's about strategy. I mean, what else? There's more modern books. Like Watson wrote a good book on chess strategy. We're just dominating here. Yusupov was Dvoretsky's student, so he's kind of picking up the Dvoretsky gauntlet. So anything he does is basically... Yusupov was like son of Dvoretsky. Of course, he's a stronger player, but Dvoretsky was a real trainer. specifically a chess trainer. He dedicated his life to just training. Uber Driver's such a nerd. We're talking about chess strategy. He's talking about the test of time. Someone else recommended Helston on something recently. I haven't seen that. Yeah, I heard about this Helston book. It's pretty good, apparently. But I like to go with classics. Speaking of eels, oh, you're such a sicko. Of course he takes to this king, and then I've got him. Oh my god! I should have just taken that further, Uber Driver. Bishop takes, king takes. No, it doesn't work. He goes back to e1. Yeah, I'm a little bit out of it, honestly. But I think Aldister's out of it as well. He's not in peak form tonight. You can tell by his results. He always has better results than this. His results are off tonight. What other chess strategy books do I recommend? This looks really bad for white. I'm not sure about this. Strikes me as a little lazy. It was my bad bishop, though. I think it's good enough. Speaking of bad bishop. He's gonna castle. Dude, you didn't castle? Was it illegal? He moved his king? He could have castled kingside there. Holy shit. I don't know about my position after that. I don't like it. Yeah, he's lost now. Can't believe it. He could have castled kingside. That's so sick. And my king is kind of sketchy after that. Horsefly, then b3. Oh, he's out of it tonight. This wasn't Aldister's tournament. Alright. I win it. Mr. Slowhand battling against Camel Culture for second place. Don't mind Mr. Slowhand's clock. He always has his increments. He's an increment pro. You have to judge Mr. Slowhand's game by the position. Looks like he's good here. I mean, black has an outside pawn, but the b pawn is more dangerous. Of course, if it just goes, it goes. And then Camel Culture's fine. What would have happened if Aldister had castled kingside when my queen was on g4 and my king is just like chilling there? I'm up a pawn, but I like don't know what to do with my king. Bense says rook hf1. Mr. Slow is surely not going to just lose on time. Oh, knight f1. Sorry. You're using, like... Yeah. Weird notation for me. I live in Hungary, but I still use like normal algebraic notation or maximum descriptive English notation. I can check after this game. Mr. Slow leaving himself really low on time. What was this, a Joko? Mr. Slow doesn't play the Joko. Was it a Najdorf? Was it a closed Sicilian? Rossalimo. Alright, I'm gonna guess Rossalimo. It was. No, it was a Spanish. Oh wow. It was a Rossalimo. Sicilian. No, it was a Spanish. Okay. I didn't know Camel Culture played the black side of the Spanish. Draw? There's still a chance for a draw. But I don't think it's like the likely result. The pawn is still in the house. So momentarily white is still better as long as that pawn is on board. I thought he was going to play queen e3. This is basically a blitz game. But man, what if Camel Culture just like pushes his pawn? He could have pushed like a5, a4, a3. I would blockade that so fast. You wouldn't know what's hit you. That's a tricky position, man. f3 is horrible. Ugh. It looks horrible. You blocked your own queen and weakened the dark squares. I think Mr. Slow is tired. He's not playing up to his usual standard here. King h2, f3 that has all the earmarks of someone who like worked all day and they're finally running out of energy. I think Mr. Slow was actually better there, and he just like totally destroyed his dark squares. Right, rook a4 should have been like a first procedure, but he was worried about this diagonal. That's why he played king h2, but I think it was probably a mistake. He shouldn't abandon the dark squares. Look at his dark squares now. He can easily get mated on the dark squares. Yeah. Exactly. Well, he might. He might. Oof. He's likely to get mated. You're not going anywhere. Hey, Wendy, check it out. Yeah, check it out. Check out the snookat, Wendy. That's probably one of my favorite movies. People are asking, what's my favorite whatever? Lost his queen. He lost his queen and gets mated. Is it mate? Where's the mate? Is there a mate? King d3, check. Do we care? Alright, Mr. Slow lost. Yeah, he ran out of energy against the young Camel Culture. Chess streamer and national master. Finishing second place tonight. Coming back after a loss to the veteran, journeyman, international master. Who wins the tournament with 6. Mr. Slow coming up short. But an admirable third place. Alisto, even out of form, still a tough contender. In 4th. And Acerbate gets 5th place. This is the second time this happened. How did you do that? Look at that. Look, Mono draws. Acerbate 5th place, bro. That's his second 5th place. Lost in round 6 and still winning. Did you bet on me, Nefidov? I had the highest performance rating. 25-12. What happened to Husky, though? He lost to me and left. He was depressed. So, Acerbate with 5th place, man. We won't talk about how he got to 4 points, but Dinekis 3.5. Stapvargan 3.5. Started late. Bisonov started late. Also, Husky left. Morphe with 3.5. Princess Chess, the top women's prize, ahead of T. Pubat, who just didn't even show up in Politz. 2 out of 3 women just forfeited. So that's cool. Sometimes showing up is half the battle, Princess Chess. Good job on winning the women's prize. And congratulations. Sparkle Horse, you did a good job. You would only bet on England versus Ukraine football soccer game. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That's one of my best all-time football bets. Nefyadov, you know that. I probably mentioned it before. I'm not an expert on betting football, but Ukraine versus UK is versus England. One of the safer bets I've ever made. All right. Anyway, it was fun, guys. I'm gonna get some rest and be back. Chemiculture second place, Mr. Slow third. Thank you guys for playing. Thanks to Mr. Cuffer for being here, being our moderator, and thanks to everybody. Tranquilizer for the raid. All of you who donated. Yesterday's donation from Shelly Mays, which I overlooked. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with some rapid challenges in the morning. Nefyadov, thank you for your donation for the beer fund. And you're a bad influence, but I appreciate it anyway. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all again tomorrow. And Tomas Trenson also for streaming the. Are you gonna stay streaming? Because I can raid Tomas Trenson. I don't know if he's gonna keep streaming or not. I might as well raid him. I didn't mention Tomas. He wasn't among the leaders tonight. Raid. Alright. Raid has been created. He likes simuls. Alright, guys. Thanks for all of your support. We'll be back tomorrow for more Ravings. Raving and raiding with International Master William Pascal. Bye-bye, guys.